we'll show, some of the great things, some of the prophetic things that that our people did. A lot of people don't subscribe to the Book of Jasher, but I really don't find a problem with it. Until I find a problem with it, I won't. And if I do, but I've been lining up scriptures with it. Thus far, it's mentioned by Yahweh Shah in the New Testament. So we gonna read on it today. But we just gonna read.
This one?
Yeah.
And in the 3rd year from the birth of Moses, Pharaoh was sitting at a banquet, when Alpharaneth the queen was sitting at his right, and Bathia at his left. And the lad Moses was lying upon her bosom, and Balaam the son of Beor with his 2 sons. And all the princes of the kingdom were sitting at the table in the king's presence. And the lad stretched forth his hand upon the king's head, and took the crown from the king's head, and placed it on his own head.
So what just happened?
And Moses took the crown off the king's head and put it on his own.
Mm-hmm. A little baby. Go ahead.
And when the king and princes saw the work which the boy had done, the king and princes were terrified, and one man to his neighbor expressed astonishment. And the king said unto the princes who were before him at table, What speak you, and what you say?
So hold on. Time's out. They already knew the prophecies. They knew the prophecies of one from the one of these Hebrews, one of these Israelites was gonna come and take the kingdom from that was gonna deliver his people from the Egyptians and destroy the Egyptians. They already knew the prophecies, and they knew this. They knew, these white Christians. These white Christians would tell you that they didn't know Moses was. They knew Moses was a Hebrew. They knew Pharaoh's daughter had took a Hebrew child as her own. They knew she wasn't pregnant. Where do you think the baby came from? They think that she just immaculate conception. She just came home with a baby. No, they knew where the baby came from, and she had that type of power. Hey, y'all not finna kill this Hebrew baby. Y'all finna take this one as my own son and raise him in the kingdom. And he was a fair child, so he fit right in. They favored him. And he was sitting there, and he snatched the crown off the king. The Pharaoh snatched it. Give me this. And put it on his head. It's mine, nigga. So all the wise men, all the people of Pharaoh's house, they looking in astonishment and fear. Because they knew the prophecy. And they looking at this little boy. Like, wait a minute. Now read.
And the king said unto the princes who were before him at the table, What speak you, and what say you? So
the king said, hey, what should we do? Go ahead.
O ye princes, in this matter, and what is to be the judgment against the boy on account of this act?
So he wanted to kill Moses because of that. Hey, what should we do to this little dude for snatching the crown off my head? Go ahead.
And Balaam the son of Beor, the magician, answered before the king and princes. And he said, Remember now, O my lord and king, the dream which thou didst dream many days since, and that which thy servant interpreted unto thee. Now therefore this is a child from the Hebrew children, in whom is the Spirit of God. Mm-hmm. And let not my lord the king imagine that this youngster did this thing without knowledge. For he is a Hebrew boy, and wisdom and understanding are with him.
Wow. Go ahead.
Although he is yet a child, and with wisdom, he has done this and chosen unto himself the kingdom of Egypt.
Wow. Go ahead.
For this is the manner of all the Hebrews, to deceive kings and their nobles, to do all these things cunningly, in order to make the kings of the earth and their men tremble. So
we was always taking kingdoms. There ain't nothing changed. They knew how we got down. We come to a place and we take over. Nowadays we come to the place and we sit at the back of the bus. We sit at the back of the room. But it wasn't like that. When we came to the place, it was only one thing on our mind. And that was taking over. This land, the Lord gave us this land. This is ours. Get down or lay down. You know what I'm saying? Y'all, hey, we can do this peacefully, or we can just kill y'all. That's how we got down. Y'all want to make an oath? We'll make an oath with you. So we keep our covenants. That's how we did. You know what I'm saying? We just didn't. We'll tell them, look, y'all want to come out? Y'all want to throw the flag down? Y'all want to be servants? Y'all want to be servitude to us? Cool. We can deal like that. We ain't gonna just, But hey, y'all want to come out here? Y'all want to draw swords? We gonna utterly slay you. Everybody. The cows, the dogs, the cats. We killing everybody. It's gonna be a lot of blood. Then we gonna take the spoil. We're going to take your best wives. We're going to take your kids as servants. That's how we got down. We are the children of Israel. Read. Huh? David, get up before I whoop you, boy. Go ahead.
Surely thou knowest that Abraham, their father, acted thus, who deceived the army of Nimrod, king of Babel, and Amalek, king of Gerar, and that he possessed himself on the land of the children of Heth, and all the kingdoms of Canaan, and that he descended into Egypt, and said of Sarah his wife, She is my sister, in order to mislead Egypt and her king. His son Isaac also did so when he went to Gerar and dwelt there, and his strength prevailed over the army of Amalek, king of the Philistines. He also thought of making the kingdom of the Philistines stumble, and saying that Rebekah his wife was his sister.
So all these things we can verify in the Bible. We can verify all those things, So, and they had the first-hand account. So they knew. Go ahead.
Jacob also dealt treacherously with his brother, and took from his hand his birthright and his blessing.
See, they even knew about Jacob and Esau. And these the Egyptians. Go ahead.
He went to the Padan Aram, to the house of Laban his mother's brother, and cunningly obtained from him his daughter, his cattle, and all belonging to him, and fled away and returned to the land of Canaan to his father.
Mm-hmm.
His sons sold their brother Joseph, who went down into Egypt and became a slave, and was placed in the prison house for 12 years, until the former Pharaoh dreamed dreams and withdrew him from the prison house and magnified him above all the princes of Egypt on account of his interpreting his dreams to him. And when God caused a famine throughout the land, he sent for and brought his father and all his brothers and the whole of his father's household, and supported them without price or reward, and brought all the Egyptians for slaves. Now therefore, my lord king, behold, this child has risen up in their stead in Egypt, to do accordingly to their deeds, and to trifle with every king, prince, and judge.
So he's saying this little boy ain't no different from his forefathers. He dealing treacherously with you. Now we gotta find out something to do, because this dude got the spirit of the Lord. He got wisdom and understanding. They seen it on him. They had been watching him. They already, like I said, they knew he was a Hebrew. They didn't sneak him into the palace like the white people show on them videos. They didn't sneak him in there. She didn't know. She said, hey, I'm taking this Hebrew. He a Hebrew. I'm taking him as my son. Y'all better not touch him. You know what I'm saying? And them Africans, they esteem they women like that. You know what I'm saying? They get down like that. The women rule the men like that over there. They do them type of things. So when they speak, they listen. The men listen. They put their foot down. The women over there. A lot of them queens did. So that we don't have queens in the house of Israel. We have daughters of Zion. Ain't no queen. It ain't that type of rulership like in this kingdom. There's no such thing as a queen in the kingdom of heaven. But in the kingdom in this world, it is. And that's how they throw it out of balance, because next thing you know it, you got a woman ruling a man. And when a woman rule a man, the children not going to listen to the man either. Proper dominion is the man. It's Christ. It's Yahweh, Christ. It's Yahweh Shah, the man, the woman, then the children. That's proper dominion. That's how you do it. It's nothing wrong with that. You got this world, they want to put the children over the man. They want to put the woman over the man. They want to put our enemies over the man. And then they want to turn the man into a sissy. Then the man got to act like a woman. That's the perfect man to them. That's the perfect black man. The perfect black man to them is a black man that's acting like a woman. That man, they can sit down and eat at their table. That man they will put on the news. That man they will glorify. That man they will make rich. Why? Because he going to lead all the people astray. And they know this. They know this. But a man like me, and I'm not trying to glorify myself, man. A man like these Hebrew Israelites that's going to put their foot down, that's not going to bite their tongue. They don't like them type of men. They try to make those men look like savages. Make them try to look like terrorists. You know, a man is going to assert his authority on the earth. Assert his dominion on the earth. They don't like a black man ruling with dominion, acting like he owns stuff. But the last time I checked, the Lord left this in our possession. Last time I checked, he gave us dominion over the earth, not Esau, not the white man, but the Israelites. Go ahead, read.
If it please the king, let us now spill his blood upon the ground, lest he grow up and take away the government from
Read that again.
If it please the king, let us now spill his blood upon the ground, lest he grow up and take away the government from thy hand. And the hope of Egypt perish after he shall have reigned. And Balaam said to the king, let us moreover call for all the judges of Egypt and the wise men thereof, and let us know if the judgment of death is due to this boy, as thou didst say, and then we will slay him. And Pharaoh sent and called for all the wise men of Egypt, and they came before the king, and an angel of the Lord came amongst them, and he was like one of the wise men of Egypt. And the king said to the wise men, surely you have heard what this Hebrew boy, who is in the house, has done, and thus has Balaam judged in the matter. Now judge you also, and see what is due to the boy for the act he has committed. And the angel, who seemed like one of the wise men of Pharaoh, answered and said as follows, before all the wise men of Egypt, and before the king and the princes, if it please the king, let the king send for men who shall bring before him an onyx stone and a coal of fire, and place them before the child.
So an onyx stone is a precious jewel. So he said, put a royal jewel before him, and put a coal of fire before him. Go ahead.
And place them before the child.
Put it before him. Go ahead.
And if the child shall stretch forth his hand and take the onyx stone, then shall we know that with wisdom he has the youth done all that he has done, and we must slay him.
So if he reached for royalty, then everything he done when he reached for that crown, it wasn't happenstance. He didn't do that in ignorance. He did that on purpose. Go ahead.
But if he stretch forth his hand upon the coal, then shall we know that it is not with knowledge that he did this thing, and he shall live.
So if he grabbed the fire coal, then he didn't know what he was doing. It was an accident, peradventure. Go ahead.
And the thing seemed good in the eyes of the king and the princes. So the king did according to the word of the angel of the Lord. And the king ordered the onyx stone and coal to be brought and placed before Moses. And they placed the boy before them, and the lad endeavored to stretch forth his hand to the onyx stone.
So he tried to grab the royalty. He tried to grab the kingdom. He knew what he wanted. He tried to grab the kingdom, but what? Go ahead.
But the angel of the Lord took his hand and placed it upon the coal. And the coal became extinguished in his hand. when he lifted it up and put it into his mouth, and burned part of his lips and part of his tongue, and he became heavy in the mouth and tongue.
So this is the account of how Moses had a speech problem, written in the book of Joshua. So that you can find that in the Bible too. Matter of fact, we can read that. We can pull that up.
You want to get that stone.
He wanted the kingdom. Moses wanted the kingdom. Exodus 4:10.
Got it.
Got it? Y'all got it? Bring it out.
This is the book of Exodus, chapter 4 and 10. And Moses said unto the Lord, O my Lord, I am not
Eloquent.
neither heretofore, nor since thou hast spoken unto thy servant, but I am a slow of speech and a slow of tongue.
So that's the account right there. Go ahead, keep reading, Jasper. Good job, Judah.
And when the king and the princes saw this, they knew that Moses had not acted with wisdom in taking off the crown from the king's head. So the king and princes refrained from slaying the child. So Moses remained in Pharaoh's house, growing up, and the Lord was with him. And whilst the boy was in the king's house, he was robed in purple, and he grew amongst the children of the king.
That's it on that. You can pause it.
I like that story.
You like that story?
Yeah.
We're going to start getting down like this.
What book? It's still in the book of Joshua, chapter 56.
And Jacob lived in the land of Egypt 17 years. In the days of Jacob, and the years of his life were 147 years.
So Jacob lived 147 years. All forefather. Everybody say all forefather Jacob.
Our forefather Jacob.
Read.
At the time, Jacob was attacked with that illness of which he died, and he sent and called for his son Joseph.
So
from
Jacob got sick, and back then it says I'm gonna pull this script.
This is Proverbs 13 and 22.
Bring it out.
A good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children.
So Jacob was a righteous man. So when you say good, you mean righteous. So that would tell you, man, our fathers, man, they took the lie. Because my father didn't leave me a damn thing. And he ain't got a damn thing to give me right now. I'm sorry to say. And I love my father and I honor him too. But I gotta bring out the curse. I can't not say anything about the curse because that's my dad. It says a righteous man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. That means he put in work. That's what I'm trying to do. Lord, let the earth remain. I want to leave something for y'all kids, for y'all and y'all kids. You gotta even first consider the thought. But our fathers, our dads didn't even consider, But granted, they went through a lot more than what we went through. Or they went through their portion. I'm not going to say a lot more. They went through their portion, you know what I'm saying? They went through a different era. So I can't judge them on that. But I can say is that it was because of sin. And a lot of them wasn't even thinking about giving us no inheritance. And they still not thinking about it today. Man, they ain't thinking about coming, because the time, you still got time now to stop over and bring something. Well, let me bring something to your children. Let me, what good can I do to my grandkids? Our grandparents still not do, our fathers still not doing it. They don't give a damn. But read that script again.
A good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children.
Okay, Trinity, read.
And Joseph his son came from Egypt, and Joseph came unto his father. And Jacob said unto Joseph and unto his sons, Behold, I die, and the God of your ancestors will visit you, and bring you back to the land which the Lord swore to give unto you and unto your children after you. Now therefore, where I am dead, bury me in the cave which is in Machpelah, in Hebron, in the land of Canaan, near my ancestors. And Jacob made his sons swear to bury him in Machpelah, in Hebron, and his sons swore unto him concerning this thing. And he commanded them, saying, Serve the Lord your God, for he delivered your fathers, will also deliver you from all trouble. And Jacob said, Call all your children unto me. And all the children of Jacob's sons came and sat before him. And Jacob blessed them.
And Jacob what?
And Jacob blessed them.
And Jacob what?
And
Jacob blessed them.
Go ahead.
And he said unto them, The Lord God of your fathers shall grant you thousand times as much, and bless you. And may he give you the blessing of your father Abraham. And all the children of Jacob's sons went forth on that day after he had blessed them. And on the next day Jacob again called for his sons, and they all assembled and came to him and sat before him. And Jacob on that day blessed his sons before his death.
He did what?
Blessed his sons before
He
his
did
death.
what?
Blessed his sons before his death.
Read.
Each man did he bless according to his blessings.
Read that again.
Each man did he bless according to his blessings.
All right.
Behold, it is written in the book of the law of the Lord, appertaining to Israel.
So Jacob had 12 sons. And it says he blessed each man, each son according to his blessings. Now, how blessed was Jacob?
Very blessed.
Now, we know Jacob was very blessed, man. You can go back there and read about his 14 years with his uncle Laban, how the Lord blessed him. And then even when he came up out of that, you know what I'm saying? So he was blessed. Go ahead, Trinity, read.
And Jacob said unto Judah, I know, my son, that thou art a mighty man for thy brethren.
So he called Judah first. Read it again.
And Jacob said unto Judah, I know, my son, that thou art a mighty man for thy brethren.
He said, look, son, I know you the mightiest of your brethren. You the mightiest, Judah. You the strongest. They look up to you, Judah. Read.
Reign over them, and thy sons shall reign over their sons forever.
That's a blessing. He told Judah, he said, man, you going to be the head over all the 12 tribes. And your son's going to be the head over all the 12 tribes. But what? Go ahead.
Only teach thy sons the bow and all the weapons of war.
The bow and the weapons of war. So now we teaching our sons peace. Peace, the hug, the love. The white man, the enemy. What'd he say? Only teach what?
The
Only
bow.
teach thy sons the bow and all the weapons of war.
So he said, teach your sons how to fight for the children of Israel. He said, basically protect your brothers. You are the head of the tribe, Judah. While we out here loving the white man, while we out here just hugging and kissing Esau's ass, and he out here killing us, we should be teaching one another, or Judah should be teaching the rest of the tribes how to protect themselves, how to fend for themselves. We're not trying to take over. We just want to be able to take a jog and live to come back around to the house. Could I take a jog around the house and make it back without being shot down by 2 Edomites with nothing else to do? Now read that again.
Only teach thy sons the bow and all the weapons of war,
So teach them how to fight. Teach them how to protect themselves. Go ahead.
in order that they may fight the battles of their brother, who will rule over his enemies.
We're going to rule over the enemies in the end. Go ahead.
And Jacob again commanded his sons on that day, saying, Behold, I shall be this day gathered unto my people. Carry me up from Egypt, and bury me in the cave of Machpelah, as I have commanded you.
Uh-huh.
Howbeit take heed, I pray you, that none of your sons carry me, only yourselves.
He said, don't let your sons. Don't let your, I don't want my grandchildren carrying the casket. I don't want the grandchildren carrying the casket. I want my 12 sons carrying the casket. I know I'm finna die. This is what I want y'all to do. I want y'all to take I don't want y'all to, if I say do this, don't do that. That's why it's very important to do exactly what your father say do. Because the Lord is watching. When your mother tell you to do something, do it exactly the way they tell you to do. Don't put your own understanding in it. Well, I thought you meant this. No, it's meant for us to take the exact orders of our fathers. Go ahead, read.
And this is the manner you shall do unto me.
Uh-huh.
When you carry my body to go with it to the land of Canaan to bury me, Judah,
Issachar,
and
Zebulun.
shall carry my bier at the eastern side.
So I want Judah, Issachar, and Zebulun on the east. Go ahead.
Reuben, Simon, and Gad at the south.
On the south, go ahead.
Ephraim,
Manasseh,
and Benjamin at the west.
uh-huh.
Dan, Asher, and
Naphtali,
at the north.
uh-huh.
Let not Levi carry with you, for he has his sons will carry the ark of the covenant of the Lord with the Israelites.
So Levi was the priest, and Levi was the only one that could touch, the house of Levi was the only ones that could touch the ark. So they had to carry the covenant of the ark. Read.
Neither let Joseph my son carry, for as a king, so let his glory be.
So that's their father still, he still got that special love for Joseph. You know, and that would never change. Jacob loved Joseph. He said, man, look, when you read, man, they raised Joseph a certain way. He didn't do what the rest of the brethren did. He didn't go out there to the field. He didn't do none of the heavy lifting, even as a child. They raised Joseph a certain type of way. You know, go ahead.
Howbeit Ephraim and Manasseh shall be in their stead.
In their stead. So let us Ephraim and Manasseh do it instead. Go ahead.
Thus shall you do unto me when you carry me away. Do not neglect anything of all that I command you.
Read that again.
Do not neglect anything of all that I command you.
So he's saying do exactly as I tell you to do. Go ahead.
And it shall come to pass when you do this unto me, that the Lord will remember your favorable and your children after you forever.
You see that? When you obey the command of your father exactly like he tell you to do, the Lord will bless you and your children. Go ahead.
After you, my sons, honor each his brother and his relative, and command your children and your children's children after you serve the Lord God of your ancestors all these days.
Read that again. Read it boldly.
And you, my sons, honor each his brothers.
So honor one another. Go ahead.
And his relatives.
And your cousins too. Go ahead.
And command your children and your children's children.
And tell your children and your children's children to do what?
After you, to serve the Lord God of your ancestors all the days.
Of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Go ahead.
In order that you may prolong your days in the land, you and your children and your children's children forever. When you do what is good and upright in the sight of the Lord your God, to go in all his ways,
Mm-hmm.
And thou, Joseph, my son, forgive, I pray thee, the wrongs of thy brethren, and all their misdeeds, and the injury that they heaped upon thee. For God intended it for thine and thy children's benefit. And, O my son, leave not thy brethren to the inhabitants of Egypt, neither hurt their feelings. For behold, I consign them to the hand of God, and in thy hand to guard them from the Egyptians. And the sons of Jacob answered their father, saying, O our father, all that thou hast commanded us, so will we do. May God only be with us.
All right, drop down to 35.
And the sons of Jacob carried their bier upon which he lay, according to all that their father commanded them. So did his sons unto him. And the bier was of pure gold.
It was what?
It was of pure gold.
It was what?
It was of pure gold.
So his casket, or what they would call a casket, was pure gold. Go ahead.
And it was inlaid round about with onyx stones
and bdellium.
And the covering of bier was gold's woven work.
So they basically braided gold together. Go ahead.
Joined with threads. And over them were hooks of oxen stones and bdellium.
So hey, if you got this thing right now, it'd probably be priceless. If you got Jacob's casket right now, that thing would probably be worth $1 trillion. Read.
And Joseph placed upon the head of his father Jacob a large golden crown.
A what?
A large golden crown.
He was a king. Go ahead.
And he put a golden scepter in his hand, and they surrounded the bier as was the custom of kings during their lives. And all the troops of Egypt went before him in this array. At first all the mighty men of Pharaoh, and all the mighty men of Joseph, and after them the rest of the inhabitants of Egypt. And they were all girded with swords and equipped with coats of mail, and the trappings of war were upon them.
So they was ready for war. Even though they was burying their father, they was still ready for war. Where you at?
39.
Jump down to 41.
And 50 of Jacob's servants went in front of the bier, and they strewed along the road myrrh and aloes.
So they was dropping myrrh and aloes on the road. This is honoring your